Hey there, change agents. It's Tim Kelly. I want to talk to you today about the importance of working with parts, specifically for change agents and messengers. Now, most of the people who are called to participate in changing the world aren't as actively engaged in that as they would like, and they're not having as much impact as they know they're called to have. There are a number of reasons for this, but a big one is internal resistance. Now, the internal resistance can take a lot of different forms and has varying degrees. In its simplest and mildest forms, it usually looks like either confusion, that is, I'm uncertain about how exactly to go about manifesting my purpose and making a difference in the world, and also being easily distracted away from purposeful activities by just everyday things that are clamoring for your attention. There's plenty of distractions available. On the more extreme end, the resistance can manifest as fear, as just a feeling of resistance itself, or sometimes on the more extreme end, self-sabotage. Now, the self-sabotage may not be obvious, and you may not be conscious of the fact that you're creating it. You may just feel that every time you go out to do something purposeful and move forward, that something unaccountably just comes up and gets in your way. Well, parts work is extremely useful in dealing with this because the way I've used it and use it with my clients is to go and find out which parts are actually resisting you making a difference in the world, which parts are resisting you spreading your message, publishing your book, giving public speeches on the topics that are most purposeful for you, being bold about marketing with your purpose. There are parts that have fears and concerns about bad things that might happen if you do that. And those parts will resolutely try to stop you from manifesting your purpose, stop you from spreading your message, stop you from trying to change the world, prevent you from earning money at living your purpose. Now, it's easy to see these parts as the bad guy and say, well, what do we do to get rid of these bad parts so I can go do this good work? That's a very oversimplified way of looking at things that creates a lot of problems. The parts actually do have good reasons. There are things they're trying to prevent from happening, and if you knew what those things were, you would want them to be successful. But because we don't actually take the time to learn the parts' motives for doing this, we wind up getting in a battle with them. And this battle can go on for years, where internally you have some parts that are very committed to making a difference in the world and very committed to living your purpose and very committed to spreading your message, and those parts try to overcome these bad parts, and now we have this battle going on inside. And this battle rages on and on and on and on and on. And then we wonder why we can't create peace in the world. Well, if you're in internal conflict with your parts, if you're stuck in resistance and self-sabotage and have some of your parts trying to overpower the other parts in order to allow you to manifest your purpose, it's going to be very difficult for you to create a new and peaceful society from that foundation, for reasons that I hope are obvious. So what do we do about this? Well, what we have to do is we have to go in and find the parts that are blocking you. We have to find the ones that are in the way. And, this is the important part, understand why. Because I guarantee you they have a good reason. You may not like their conclusion, you may not like their methodology, but if you knew their reason, you would actually agree with them. Having found out what the part's reason is, the question becomes, how can we help this part do its job, that is, prevent some bad thing from happening, and allow you to go and manifest your purpose successfully? And if you could answer that question, this part would shift from being an obstacle to manifesting your purpose to being an ally in manifesting your purpose. Very important. Shifting it from being an obstacle to being an ally. There is no such thing as a bad part. There are parts that are in the way. There are parts that are blocking you. There are parts that are sabotaging you. There are parts that are resisting goals that other parts of yours has. That doesn't make them bad parts. It means there's a lack of internal alignment. And if you learned how to create alignment internally, that is, if you could enroll all of your parts in supporting you in your purpose, imagine how much alignment you could create externally. Because messengers and change agents who are in a state of internal conflict, which the vast majority of them are, create conflict as they go out to try to create the new world. As they go out to create peace, they do it in a way that creates conflict. As they go out to create change, they do it in a way that creates conflict, because conflict is their internal reality. And you cannot create peace on the outside if you are in conflict on the inside. Now, for messengers, this problem, if anything, is even more extreme. By messengers, I mean people who are called to spread some wisdom in the world on a large scale. Messengers usually know who they are, even if they don't know what their message is. Well, it turns out that most messengers have very powerful fears about being persecuted or abused or burned at the stake or crucified even, like really deep-seated fears about bad things that will happen if they go out and spread their message. I remember when I was working to publish True Purpose, it took me a couple of years longer than I wanted because I was wrestling with these fears. Well, what I learned and what you can learn is that you can find the parts that have these fears and help them create strategies for doing their job that still allows you to spread your message on a large scale. So that, like me, you could be out on large stages being paid to spread your message to leaders and change agents in different countries, if you could create the internal alignment that would allow that to happen. So this is the game. If you could get your parts aligned, then you could be much more efficient at achieving any goal, but most importantly, at manifesting your purpose and spreading your message. And the way to do this is to get to know the parts, to communicate with them, understand their goals, understand the problems they're trying to solve and the bad outcomes they're trying to prevent, and to help them be successful at that in a way that also allows you to be successful at the things you want to do. Good. Hope this was useful for you, and I hope I'll see you in the upcoming Inner Harmony process, where we'll learn very specific techniques for dealing with the fears of parts, negotiating with them, and if necessary, transforming them completely so that they're fully aligned with your purpose.